Hello everyone, and welcome to another RCT2 Reviews stream. Today we are looking at Warlock by inthemanual. This is a recent as of yesterday, design-winning entry with our coaster here, Warlock. So let's jump on into this small design and take a look at everything. We'll start with the coaster just because that's the focus of the map. This is a Premier LIM bowl. Warlock, the name, of course, 1998, according to the information here. So, pretty interesting layout. This is a standard LIM bowl that Premier Rides had made in the late 90s. There are 5 in the world. 2 at the Cedar Fair Parks, Kings Island, Kings Dominion, indoors as Flight of Fear. 2 outside at the Six Flags Parks, Fiesta Texas, and Six Flags America. And there's 1 in China now. Originally started life in Japan, but operates at Discoveryland in China at the moment. Great rides. Pretty interesting coasters throughout. Nice compact layout, hence the nickname Spaghetti Bowl, and complicated support structure, which inthemanual has done quite well here. Lots of good detailing here. There's 4 inversions. There's a cobra roll to start, an Immelman here, and then a corkscrew right at the very, very end. Kind of a last-minute hurrah before you hit into the brakes. Good detailing. Really like the new footer objects. I think those are could be a bit of a game changer as we look at people doing realistic supports. I think that's quite nice. Has a brake run in the middle here, which some of them do and some of them don't. The Flight of Fears do. Joker's Jinx and Fiesta Texas's do not. That's just a flat bit. But I do like the rings around there and also on the launch track. I'd probably like to see a little bit beefier LIM motors on here, since those were real chunky down the launch track, so it would be kind of neat as a detail to see those. On this side, we've got the transfer track, which kind of typically is on the inside, but there's no reason that it couldn't be on the outside. Again, the rings are nice here. I like that using the full inversion from the Heartline Twister, but you just get this little bit at the end there. Gives it a good little touch there. Station itself is quite good. Has a pretty nice structure here with a bit of a striking red roof on top, and then the wood and the stone was juxtaposed very well with each other, and then the pointed castle arches there are nice. The path itself it's a pretty small area, theoretically, of a larger section of the park, which is kind of what's hinted at here. There's a couple of other little rides here that we can look at, and some other details. Right here in the middle, here's the Potion Master, which is a game stall. Really cool, and maybe one of my favorite bits in the map, with the purple and the green smoke coming out here. It's a really neat looking game structure, and probably the more interesting version than some of these more standard ones on this side with the Robin Hood and the Fool's Errand. I like that each of the games has names, as they would in real life. So that's kind of a neat touch. Here is a disco coaster. Pretty well done, I think. I'd probably like to see a little bit more structure, and I generally like to see these with some layering on the track too, like even a powered coaster laid throughout here in the middle, or even potentially the monster truck ride set one below, so it's a little more of a larger thicker track, I guess. But what I like about this is the station that goes over top of the track. Usually you don't see that terribly often. There are a couple that do it, but for the most part, these are outside. That's a pretty cool head chopper type element in there. And the layout is good. It's symmetrical. It has the little vertical end on either side. It's about the appropriate length, height, width. All the various parts and pieces look correct. So this is one of the better looking ones of these. And I really love the tower on either side. The standard tower, actually, the in-game tower looks pretty good there. Sets off against this guy on this side. It is a little bit weird, potentially, where this one, and this one over here have different textures, just a little bit. Not by too much, but it's a little bit awkward, maybe. But they do look nice with that red color setting off against the gray. Some good bits of architecture throughout. Classic RCT trope with the ice cream cone on the corner. Always a good look. I like these signs hanging down on all the various parts and pieces here. And the color is nice. So on the whole, it's definitely brown and gray as your primary, but there's a lot of nice color details in the games, in the flowers, in even the landscaping, trees and everything throughout here, using the flower beds around. These flowers kind of around the back are maybe a little bit odd because I guess it depends on what's on this side off map, since I guess that would be what that is for. Otherwise, you wouldn't necessarily theme a back area such as that. But we have another little structure here off on the side to that little restaurant here. This is the classic, and a little restroom building too. And then a good level crossing here, and the railroad itself. We'll get to that back of house stuff here in a minute. This fountain is super neat with the potted plants on here. Kind of thinking this is meant to be the main entrance here since there aren't the pots on this side, but really liking the detail. They're almost too detailed, I would say, in some instance, but it's got a good look to it, and very I like the path making. I'd almost like to have seen that elsewhere, like even in front of the Warlock entrance, because you got this great sign here with the big W. It would be kind of neat to have that same sort of deal popping out from this entrance structure. Turning around here, we get the little stalls where it's a couple of different pieces. So there's the raft boat ride here that is interspersed with the miniature monorail there, which is kind of a neat little hack. I'm guessing that's a Visual Studio hack there to get the different different vehicles sitting there, which is kind of a neat little touch. And then over here we got the super cool entrance for the ride here. This is Dragon's Fire. Really cool dragon here over top, just kind of perched over the entrance. Unfortunately, we still haven't worked out the hack for the single station or single queue for multiple rides on towers like these. So we still have to have the 3 queues, but I think it's done tastefully here. I like the different colored entrances, the purple, the blue, and the red for the towers themselves. And again, the way that dragon's kind of perched over the building itself is pretty neat. And then the tower is cool. It's not a huge tower, but it's big enough, and I like the color transition in here. The custom palette for this is kind of interesting in that it replaces the blues with a little bit different shade of blue, and I do like this blue a whole lot. I think it's a really good and a clean color, and works well with the purples here, and then also with the supports on the crossing the river here, and then on the lighter blue supports on the ride itself. All right, it's a fun little trick here out at the side just to get the train to and from the little strip in here. We have our station over here, which maybe could have been black tiled over top of just to hide it a little bit more, but there's it's definitely one of those unintentional, or maybe intentional, fun hacked elements. While we wait for that to load, here's a nice little car park area. Good variety of the Space K cars, and a nice curved fence here, which I always appreciate with the monorail and the stacked cycle monorail or the single rail. But here we go. Launch these trains off into nowhere. Turn and launch, which is fun. And then they're going to find their way over here and reassemble for the journey. So definitely a more thrilling train ride than your usual. Compositionally, I think this park was done really, really well. The landscaping is great. The architecture is really, really well done. Definitely a step up from previous work from inthemanual. I think this is definitely the best bit of work that was done prior. I mean, there's certainly some nitpicks and things. I think the biggest complaint that I've seen so far is the coaster sort of acting on its own over here. And granted, you can't really theme these kind of things. I mean, heck, Cedar Fair put them in a box and did indoor theming, but I'd almost have liked to have seen similar things like this dragon almost propped up here somewhere and supported, or perhaps a tunnel further down, or even really just wrapping the path around it. The fact that the river comes in through the middle here and kind of cuts off the coaster, so the coaster's on its own island per se over here from the rest of the area, kind of just feels disconnected. And then especially with as bright as it is, set off from the colors over here. I mean, the orange really isn't used elsewhere within the space, so it visually is sort of separated from the overall. Now, granted, I can't fault that too hard, because I still think it looks great, and it's definitely realistic and something like a park would typically set up in this kind of fashion. I just think there could have been some more attempts to bring this in as wrapping pathways around it, wrapping stuff up some of the columns. Maybe there's vines, maybe there's something else. I don't quite know what that could be from an effects standpoint. Perhaps there's more of this smoke here in the mid-course brake run. But I mean, either way, it's a great design with a lot of great details. This bridge is very neat with the appropriately done trusses throughout here. And then all the little backstage areas and everything. It's small, but there's a lot of detail packed into this space here, and I think it got a well-deserved design win and a pretty good score. Certainly makes me want to see more, so I'm definitely hoping that inthemanual will come back with an even larger park next time, maybe a couple of coasters, and the same kind of level of quality, detail, and landscaping. But well done on the design. Congratulations on all of that. If you would like to see other designs or full parks reviewed, please let me know. cedarpoint6@nedesigns.com, or on the YouTube channel. Just leave a comment and I will get to them. So until next time, thank you for watching, and hope you enjoyed Warlock by inthemanual. Thank you for watching.